Chapter 16. Interests, Jagwerye's perspective. Mom had insisted on checking on the Mortal Team, even though I tried to tell her that I didn't like springing surprise visits on them. I let her go ahead of me. I told her I would meet up with her later. As I walked along the dark road, I got a phone call. Pulling out my phone, I noticed that Lypye was calling me. I answered the phone and put it up. Hello?
Jagwerye?
I heard her ask, her voice shaking. Are you crying? I questioned.
No.
She took a deep breath.
I need some advice.
I stopped outside the shed. What is going on?
It's Jasmine. She called me because she was scared of hurting herself. When I got here, she was crying, but expressionless and speechless.
She explained. That is a low part of depression. After the anger and sadness has passed, you feel this numbness inside. You feel like you do not have the energy to care about anything, I told her.
What do I do to stop that?
She asked. I cannot promise it will stop immediately, but try to be patient with her. Be there for her. If you cannot get her to start talking to that therapist again, try to be there as a support for her. I tried.
She took a few deep breaths. I've been trying to, but she's making me panic.
I heard the hatch behind me open and I turned to see Agent B climbing out. Realizing I was still on the phone, I told Lypye, I am going to have to let you go. I am going to check on the Mortal Team.
Okay, have a nice night.
She hung up immediately. I directed my attention to Agent B. She was now staring at me. I'm sorry. She started.
I just came out here for some air. Your mom is overloading me with questions.
It is okay. Questions about your training? I asked. She shook her head.
Miss Lypye came over earlier to talk to me and Queen Hina saw her. Guess she and Lypye talked outside, but now she's asking if I'm okay and what Lypye is like.
Why did Lypye want to talk to you? I questioned. She shuffled nervously, staring at the ground.
She figured out my secret identity.
My eyes widened. What? How?
A girl from my college, Jasmine, was with her roommate, Sarah, and they saw my boyfriend and I in a disagreement. They intervened. Sarah,
Lypye told me that Lypye told you her disguise? I asked and she nodded. She saw clues linked to you. I told you, I know. She interrupted. I said too much and it revealed my identity to her. She started pacing. But it's Lypye. She stopped and looked at me.
We can trust her now, right?
I paused for a moment. I hope so. She and I climbed into the Mortal Syara Team's base, walking up to Mom, talking to Agent M and Agent R. Agent A told me she would be late due to a skateboarding competition she's in. Mom looked at me. Glad you can join us. Yes, of course. My apologies, I got held up. I responded. Does anyone know the name of the mortal Lypye is staying with? Mom asked. I quickly spelled the word no on Agent B's hand with my finger, keeping our hands below the table so Mom didn't see. All of the agents, including Agent B, shook their heads. I and my team know. I am keeping an eye on Lypye and Hyena is keeping an eye on the mortal, I explained. The situation is contained. Mom stayed quiet for a second. That was the calmest I had seen her in years. I just want to get to know my daughter. With my supervision, I have her attending the Mortal Syara Team's meetings. Maybe you could stop by and talk to her? I suggested. With my duties as queen, it might be hard, but I'm willing to try. Mom admitted. Jagwerye, can I talk to you in the back room? I nodded and we walked into the back room. I just want to say, she sighed, I love you. I don't say it enough. With Lypye, I've seen her as the goddess of darkness, an evil being and a tyrant. But there's one thing I forgot she was, my daughter. Kim turned evil before you and your siblings were born. Lypye is the goddess of life. Whether I agree with it or not, she will always have to deal with good and evil. Hyena, my only son. I feel like I neglected him too much and that's why he turned evil. She hugged me. I want to do it right with you. That's why I'm tough on you. I hugged her back but said nothing, feeling a sense of uncertainty creep in. I love you, she whispered.
Chapter 17, Jim Bob, Jasmine's Perspective. I knew that if I kept this pregnancy a secret much longer, I might do something bad to myself. Deciding against consulting Lypye, I invited my best friends, Cali Jones and Michelle McBride, over. Cali had on a tight pink tank top and a long wavy magenta skirt, along with white socks, pink sneakers, and shoulder-length straight brown hair. Michelle was wearing black swishy pants with a white stripe going down the side of each leg, a baggy white t-shirt, black sneakers, and really short dark brown hair. I was wearing an oversized gray t-shirt, black sweatpants, and gray sneakers. Michelle stared at me as I paced in front of them. Hey, I have to be in an hour. What's going on?
Yeah, you don't seem yourself lately, Cali chimed in.
I took a few deep breaths, then lifted up my shirt slowly, exposing my stomach. I'm almost 6 months pregnant. They both stared at me, shocked.
And who else knows? Cali asked.
No one, not even Sarah. I pulled my shirt down. And you can't tell her.
She's your roommate and your sister. How does she not know?
Cali questioned. She's been hanging out with Jay Muley a lot, I admitted. She's barely home when I am. The most she's noticed is that I've been upset. Cali and I looked at Michelle, who was noticeably lost in thought. She snapped her attention back to us. In 3 months, I think it might be a little hard to hide the fact that you had a baby. I've been debating whether I should give it up for adoption or not, I told them.
Why would you want to get rid of it?
Cali asked. I don't want to explain much. The most I can tell you is... I broke down crying. It would be safer for the baby to not know me.
What are you talking about?
Cali asked.
You would be a great mother.
I wiped my tears as we heard rustling in the bushes through the open patio door. I completely forgot it was open. Michelle opened the screen door and I walked over to the bushes, pulling someone by the arm out. It was Jim Bob Jones. He was wearing a red tank top that was so tight it showed the outlines of his abs, loose shorts that came down to his knees, white socks, and brown sneakers. His brown hair was short and messy. What are you doing here? Michelle asked.
I'm not following you if that's what you think.
He responded. Cali and I stared at him in disbelief. Michelle sighed. I already told you no. I gasped. Jim Bob, how much did you hear? He turned to look into my eyes.
Everything.
I grabbed his arm and pulled him aside. The girls followed me inside. Michelle closed the patio door. Please, promise me you won't tell.
Why?
He crossed his arms.
Alright, I promise. On one condition.
He looked past me. I followed his gaze over to Michelle. She took a deep breath. Fine, you can take me on one date. I looked back at Jim Bob in shock. What? I knew it! Cali yelled. I've been saying for years that I thought you had a crush on her.
Yeah.
He elbowed Cali, who then burst out laughing. We heard the door and turned to see Lypye/Sarah opening the door. Well, she exclaimed. Glad to see you're good enough to be with friends again. Mostly friends. I glanced at Jim Bob then back at Lypye. Lypye crossed her arms. What are you doing here? Cali giggled.
Asking Michelle on a date.
Don't mention it, Michelle mumbled. Lypye smirked. Oh, really? Jim Bob's face turned red with embarrassment.
Yes. Why is this such a big deal?
Lypye threw up her hands. I guess it's not. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath.
I'm a lot nicer than I was in school. I don't follow Mo's lead anymore. Realizing I had a crush on Michelle last year, I pushed myself to better myself before asking her out.
Lypye raised his eyebrows. And what makes you think I believe you? Her eyebrows. He walked over to her and calmly looked into her eyes.
If I end up hurting her, you could hurt me.
He looked around.
Can I possibly get a pen and paper?
I grabbed a pen from a cup full of pens on the dining room table, then ripped out a blank page from one of my journals, then brought them over to him.
Thank you.
He took them from me, wrote on the paper, then handed the paper to Lypye. She looked confused, so he continued.
Here's my address. Now you know where you can find me.
Lypye gave him a stern look, so he continued.
Cali, please come here and tell her this is my address.
Cali walked over and looked over Lypye's shoulders. It is.
You're welcome to follow me home if you still don't believe me,
he told her. Lypye held up her hand, indicating to him to stop talking. Her and I come over and beat the shit out of you. She looked at Michelle. You better tell me how that date goes. Michelle nodded. Trust me, I will.